Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Chandler in the Leadership and Integrative Studies Unit at Arizona State University. This toolkit video addresses the types of contracts that project managers are often involved with in fulfilling their professional responsibilities managing projects. This brief video will address the common contract types a project manager is likely to engage with and closes with some recommendations for engaging with the contracting process as a project manager. These are the common types of contracts that a project manager can experience in the projects that they manage: fixed price, cost reimbursement, cost plus, time and materials, unit price, and indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. The goals of each organization involved in a contract can vary, and of course there are differences depending on whether the project manager is functioning on the side of the purchaser or on the side of the supplier. There isn't time in this brief video to address all those complexities, but let's look at what each of these contract types means. Fixed price contracts typically include benefits for completing ahead of time and penalties for missing deadlines. These types of contracts are sometimes referred to as lump sum contracts. Preparing and negotiating this type of contract can take longer than others, as the supplier is accepting much of the risk and will want to establish a price that accounts for that. For cost reimbursement contracts, the final total cost isn't commonly calculated until the contract is completed. The supplier provides the estimated costs to give the purchaser an idea of the budget, and a maximum or a ceiling cost that the supplier cannot exceed is often specified in the contract. A cost reimbursement type contract is often used when there are many uncertainties involved for both the supplier and the purchaser. In cost plus contracts, the purchaser agrees to pay the actual cost of the labor, materials, and any unexpected expenses. Then the plus is the fee that can be awarded. There are several subtypes here that provide different ways for the incentives to be arranged. Each of these contracts includes the details that explains the conditions for the fees to be awarded. In an award fee arrangement, there are conditions specified in the contract that define the rate that the award will be. Alternatively, the fixed fee arrangement provides an established amount as the fee regardless of what the costs actually are at the end of the contract. The incentive fee arrangement provides specific rates for when the supplier exceeds expectations. And for the percent of cost fee arrangement, the higher the final cost is, the higher the fee is. For all these contract types, the purchaser carries more of the risk. Additionally, there is more flexibility for the supplier rather than for the purchaser. But these types of contracts are helpful when engaging in new areas for both the purchaser and the supplier. A time and materials contract is sometimes easier to negotiate and easier to make changes to if the project requirements are likely to change, because there is flexibility for the purchaser to buy as many hours of various specialists' time that is needed. But these types of contracts also require the supplier to use detailed information systems to keep track of the time and material expenditures. The units in a unit price contract can be workers' time, or the units can be materials, or it can be a combination of those. The actual number of units that will be purchased typically can't be specified at the beginning of the contract, so these contracts offer flexibility. Also, it's more straightforward to compare unit prices across suppliers when using unit price contracts. Some people consider an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, or IDIQ, as a type of unit contract, and some do not. IDIQ contracts are most often used for service contracts with a maximum quantity established, which allows the organization to buy services off the contract once it's in place. Here are some recommendations for project managers with regards to working with contracts. Expertise. Sometimes there can be pressure to stay within one's area of expertise, and it can feel intimidating to work with experts whose jargon differs from what one is accustomed to, and those feelings can inhibit asking questions to gain clarity. But project managers don't benefit the projects they're managing, nor the clients and stakeholders they serve by being shy when it comes to asking questions regarding contracts. Ask all the questions that arise. Ask the contract manager to explain contract clauses that you don't fully understand. Ask for explanations in the details for all of the what-if scenarios that could arise. Likewise, don't hold back in explaining terminology, concepts, and expectations from the project perspective to the contract manager. The contract manager needs that information to understand the priorities that matter for the project. Time. Don't assume that when the project manager and the contract manager are the same person, that time will be saved. It's often helpful to allocate more time for that person to be able to step back and focus on the project and the contract from each role's perspective, and to go through a checklist that they've developed so that they can help look for potential project or contract risks. That wraps up this toolkit video. I'm Dr. Jennifer Chandler in the Leadership in Integrative Studies at Arizona State University. Thank you.